Hello, you guys, again. This is Stephanie from Unveiling the Spirit with my second reason to answer the question of if love really hurts. I started a video last week from tackling the question if love actually hurts, and I am going through 3 reasons why love does not hurt, and that our perception of that a lot of the times has more to do with our own personal issues and very, very little to do with love in and of itself. And so the first reason that I gave is that you can't really love another person without loving yourself. Oftentimes we think that the person in the relationship that is doing all the giving is the one who loves, and the one who is not giving is the one who doesn't, when actually the person who is giving and giving and giving and not getting back in return usually is a sign that that person, especially if they stay in that relationship for a significant amount of time with this repeatedly happening, that person usually has a problem with their self-esteem, their identity, and things like that, and they are reflecting that into the relationship and trying to prove and earn love, which by all appearances, and I know it's a harsh word for some people to hear sometimes, but it's actually very dysfunctional. And so unless you have a very healthy sense of the love that you loving yourself, it's going to be very difficult for you to be in a relationship and not reflect those issues into the relationship a lot of the time without even realizing that you're doing it. And so it takes a lot of deep soul searching and really being honest with yourself and sorting through your own pain to figure out if you're actually doing that, because it's not always obvious. Because again, on the surface, it's very easy for us to assume that the person who is doing all the giving and stuff like that is the one who does not have the problem, when actually a lot of the times it can be a sign of a problem, especially if you're staying in an abusive relationship or a relationship where you're continuously being mistreated for long periods of time, and you're just staying in there. Like, that's not healthy. It's not normal. Well, unfortunately, it is kind of normal, but it's definitely not healthy to your self-esteem, your mental health. And for you to love yourself first means you're not going to sacrifice those things to stay in a relationship. And so to get into the second reason, I know some people might be thinking, well, why would you just leave somebody that you care about? Like, it seems very cold. It seems easier said than done, and I know it's easier said than done. And I don't say that to negate that it will not come with some difficulties doing that, but a person who really loves themselves first will do that if it's necessary for their health, mental health, spiritual health, and emotional health. And so, but again, so my second reason kind of goes to, if you really love somebody, would you just leave them? So that's the question. It kind of connected to the first reason. And the question is, yes, you will. Because in the same way that somebody who seems to be loving and giving in a relationship might have a deeper issue, you know that a person who is continuously mistreating another person clearly has an issue. And you know that the best way for that person to deal with their issue, well, let me back up a little bit. You know that when somebody is continuously mistreating you, that is a sign that they have an issue and that they are also reflecting their issue into the relationship. A lot of the times we take people's behaviors personally when they don't treat us right, but the truth is, the way that a person treats another person is more about that person than it is about the other person, because people can only respond and do things with where they are mentally and emotionally, even if they really want to do something different, unless they get to a place mentally and emotionally and spiritually to react and respond to another person in a healthy way, they are simply unable to do it. And a lot of the times they need healing, they need help, and not to excuse the behavior, because that doesn't take away your responsibility to get help. They can't, it's really kind of out of their control. And so I can go much deeper into that, and maybe I will in another video, in a webinar, but for now I kind of want to stick to the reason of how you can actually leave somebody that you care about. And so if they're reflecting their baggage or their issues into the relationship, the best thing that you can do for them is to take a step back so that they don't have the opportunity to do that. Because as long as they're able to reflect their issues onto you, it stops them from having to deal with it. And so when you can remove yourself from the equation, whether by separation or just breaking up altogether and taking some time apart, you know that that is the best way for them to self-reflect instead of just simply reflecting the relationship on you. And so that is actually a sign of love. When you are taking your own needs to be with the person and share with the person, a way to help the person. You are making a sacrifice for their benefit so they can do the self-reflection needed to actually get to a healthier place for the relationship. So staying in an unhealthy relationship is not only a sign that the person who is staying in it has a deeper issue, but when you stay in it, the person who is by all appearances looks like the abuser or the mistreater, you are enabling their behavior. So you don't want to enable, if you really love someone, you're not going to enable their behavior because you understand that their mental health and things like that is very important also. And so you will take some steps back in order to let them deal with themselves. So once again, this is the second reason that love does not actually hurt. And a lot of the pain that we sometimes deal with, and the distance and the disconnection and the mistreatment that we deal with in a relationship, is simply because we are not taking the initiative to give the person who has an issue, or even ourselves, issue. Because if you take a break from someone, that can also be space for you to deal with your own issue. So we're not taking the space to deal with the issues that are simply surfacing and being reflected into the relationship. And so that's another reason why love does not actually hurt. People are just reflecting their pain onto each other. So I will do the third reason next week. I again hope you guys got something out of it. If you have any questions or comments or want to share or like this video, I would really appreciate it. Besides that, you guys be great and have a nice day. See you next week. Bye.